Settle down, ye landlubbers, ye bats and ghouls. Before we set sail into the shadows, I have a few words from the captain. This episode of Into the Void is sponsored by Ghost Hunt Apparel. Ghost Hunt Apparel, wear your hunt on your sleeve. And by our partners at Eat Shirts. Eat Shirts, hungry for quality. Aye, settle down, settle down. Now, the stories, legends, and information ye about to hear are based on real research, historical records, and documented accounts. However, as always, the unknown still leaves room for mystery. And lastly, I was sent here to remind ye to
stop, listen, and ask yourself, have you ever pondered at the idea that there may be something to the other side? If so, and you're hearing my voice for the first time, then you may have just fallen into the void.
I know that the paranormal is real.
Hey there, ahoy there, bats and ghouls. Welcome to a brand new season of Into the Void, the podcast that dives into the unknown, exploring anything and everything paranormal. I am your ghost host, or rather for this episode, your Captain G-Man, guiding our way through the spectral fog as we sail into another bone-chilling episode. That's right, bats and ghouls, I'm back. And ready to bring you all things that go bump in the night, real ghostly encounters, and when the season approaches, Halloween events and Halloween-related news. So grab your candles, light some sage, and join me, your paranormal ghost host, for a brand new season of ghostly chills and more. Joining me for this voyage is the return of my good friend and fellow podcaster, Bats and Ghouls. Please welcome from the O.U.C.H Cast, he's the man who makes this show sound even spookier. Please welcome back, Angel.
Why am I here? Why am I here? Wrong show. Wrong show.
That was probably the best sound effect I've heard for an introduction. Like, I'm sorry that you had to be here.
I'm sorry you're listening to my voice again.
Angel, what is up, man? How's it going?
Not much, man. Just, keeping busy, getting the O.U.C.H Cast going. Season 5 has been chaos.
Wow.
Chaos.
Already season 5.
Yeah, technically season 5. So we had to go. We actually had to call it season 5 because, technically we started 2017.
Okay.
Had a couple. This is like O.U.C.H Cast 3.0 because it's now down to just 2 of us. George and Doyle are now gone. They've gone to greener pastures. I put them out of their misery.
Oh.
And no, Doyle is actually in Minnesota.
Oh, Minnesota.
In Don Channel. He lives out there now. So
out there, Don Channel.
And then George, he became a father, so he has no time and all that stuff.
Yeah.
But
he
only has 1 kid. I have 4. How do I do it?
Yeah, you have 4. I have 2.
Yeah,
how are we here right now?
I don't know. So it is what it is. So now we're doing video. We're doing a bunch of new stuff. It's taking up a lot more of my time. Go to our ouchcast.com. We have our videos there. We have our audio versions. We have our tchotchkes, links to you, links to everybody.
I love it.
There we are.
I love it. I was just going to ask you, too, what's new with the O.U.C.H Cast?
That's what's new. Video,
awesome.
video. I've implemented a lot of my New York Film Academy education into it now, and we've gone visual.
Love it.
So instead of the actual, how it used to be where we had like the special effects buttons, and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Now it's more of a video little overlays that I put into the show, which makes it a lot funnier.
Okay.
Because I can actually pick on my co-host, Enrique. It's great.
I love that, man. That is so awesome.
Mm-hmm.
Well, listen, it is so great to have you back on Into the Void. I'm excited because we have a lot of new things happening for this show. It's a brand new season, so that means brand new things are going to happen. And Bats and Ghouls, speaking of new things, do me a favor and stay tuned because at the end of this episode, we have a very special announcement.
Ooh.
And speaking of this episode, we're setting sail into uncharted haunted waters of maritime legend. Our voyage takes us deep into the chilling tales of ghost ships. You know, those phantom vessels that drift across the seas, shrouded in mystery and leaving terror in their wake. I'm pretty sure you've heard of this one, Angel, right?
Yeah, of course.
Absolutely. Well, here's my question. What compels these spectral ships to continue their eternal voyages? What secrets lie behind their withered sails and cracked decks? Are they mere myths? Or is there truth lurking behind their waves? Join me and Angel as we dive deep into the abyss, uncovering the tales of these ghostly mariners and the mysteries they carry. Prepare to be enthralled and perhaps a little unsettled as we navigate into the void of ghost ships right after this message.
Oh, this line. It's slower than a ghost at sunrise.
I'm sorry, Master. I may have a way to help us pass the time.
As long as it doesn't involve your undead game again.
Oh, no. Here, Master, put these in your ears.
Headphones. Igor, what sorcery is this?
Not sorcery, Master. Just listen.
Ask yourself, have you ever pondered at the idea that there may be something to the other side?
Hey there, ahoy there, bats and ghouls. Welcome to a brand new season of Into the Void.
Ah, yes. My favorite podcast.
That's right, Master. And I'm happy to say G-Man is back with a brand new season. From cryptic, spooky interviews to even incorporating silly games with his guests. It's my favorite part of the show.
Igor, this is spectacular. In fact, I've forgotten all about how slow this line.
Order for, master? Master? Order for master?
Master, our coffee is ready.
Oh, but
Don't worry, master.
We can continue to listen on iHeartRadio, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and anywhere else you listen to podcasts.
What?
Quickly, Igor. Let us make our way to our next destination as we continue to listen to Into the Void.
Yes, Master.
Welcome back, bats and ghouls. I'm here with Angel from the O.U.C.H Cast, and we are diving deep into the abyss of ghost ships. Well, Angel, my fiendish friend, it is all hands on deck, batten down the hatches and weigh anchor as we make our way into the void and out into a place known as the Cape of Good Hope, or rather, Cape Peninsula of South Africa. Now, this is quite interesting. Before we fully get into this, I was doing a lot of research on this subject, and there are moments in this segment you're going to hear that was like very frustrating for me because there was sightings of ghost ships, and there are people who have actually witnessed this stuff, and it was almost impossible to find it.
Right.
So I will get into that lore later on in this episode, but I'm telling you right now, it's insane. Have you ever heard of these types of things happening before?
Ghost ships?
Yes.
Of course, yeah. One of my favorite is the story of the Mary Celeste.
Right, that's right.
And I like I mentioned before, I was so obsessed with it that actually my last born, we had chosen the name Mary Celeste.
That's right. You told me that.
If it was going to be a girl. We changed it to Nova Celeste.
Okay.
Because we wanted it to be closer to our other daughter, Luna Mia.
Oh, okay.
But it turned out to be a boy, so that we scratched the whole thing. Insert record scratch here.
But Nova's such a nice name, though.
Yeah, Nova.
You know?
But it didn't work out. We got a boy instead.
Yeah.
His name is Alex or Alejandro.
Oh,
so
nice.
It works.
Nice.
But that was my obsession was always the M Celeste.
Interesting.
Fun fact or little side note: did you ever see the 1990s remake of Night of the Living Dead?
Yes.
That Tom Savini directed, which is the best version in my opinion.
Okay.
If you look at the house when they come up to it, the name on the house is M Celeste.
Wait, what?
Now the reason it's called M Celeste is when they first walk in, the kitchen, the stove is on, stuff is cooking.
Oh my gosh! I didn't even.
Everything, mind blown, mic drop.
Wow. Okay, I have to watch this again.
Yeah. You got to watch it.
That's wild.
When I saw that the first time, I'm like, oh my God, my teen heart was like pounding because I'm like, they are referencing something that I know so well.
That's so freaking cool.
So, yeah.
Oh my gosh. Well, I'm actually blown away right now. I had no idea that was even part of
Yeah.
it. I have to go back and watch that again. That's
Yeah,
awesome.
check it out.
Well, let's get into this because this is about to get very, very interesting. Now, like as I said, the Cape of Good Hope, or rather Cape Peninsula, South Africa, right? So let me welcome you to the alleged birthplace of a legendary ship so haunted, so cursed, it cannot and will not make port. Now, according to legend, it is one of the oldest ghost stories on the high seas. The myth of this ship originated around the 17th century, strangely or coincidentally, around the same time the Dutch East India Company, or VOC, was reaching the height of what is known as the golden age of maritime power. Have you figured it out yet, Bats and Ghouls? Well, if your guess was the Flying Dutchman, you'd be correct. That's right, Bats and Ghouls. The Flying Dutchman was a ship doomed to sail the seas forever, and not just a character on the ever so popular kids show, SpongeBob SquarePants.
Now, wasn't that the Flying Dutchman?
I believe it was the Flying Dutchman, not the Flying Dutchman. Then again, I could be wrong. I just remember.
you know what? It might be a Mandela effect.
Oh, no, it's all good. I just remember the scene where SpongeBob is there and he's helping out the Flying Dutchman, and he's like
Awesome.
backing up and he's like, you got it.
Yeah.
Keep going. And it's like scratching
I
the
love that
entire
show.
ship up.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Now, to fully understand the origins of the Flying Dutchman, we must begin by looking at the ship's captain, the elusive and legendary Hendrik van der Decken. Now, his name has been etched into maritime folklore, and as with many myths, there are multiple accounts of how he came to acquire command of the infamous vessel. Now, one popular version of this is a very interesting story. One popular version of this story recounts that during a particular and unforgiving storm, Captain Hendrik made a fateful and audacious vow. Determined to round the treacherous Cape of Good Hope, despite the furious winds and towering waves, he boldly declared that he would accomplish this feat, no matter how long it took, even if he had to sail until Judgment Day itself. In that moment of defiance, it is said the devil heard Hendrik's reckless words, a declaration that defied the natural order and challenged fate itself. The devil cursed Hendrik and his ship for his arrogance and hubris, dooming them to sail the oceans for all eternity, never to find peace or reach safe harbor. Now, I will say, Angel, that this tale does raise an important question. Why would Hendrik van der Decken, an experienced and capable captain, make such a desperate vow in the face of a storm that threatened to destroy his ship and crew? And also, what could have driven him to such lengths? What do you think, Angel?
Beer.
No. That's rum. That's what the answer would be.
I think it was just maybe a call for glory. I think it was
okay.
He wanted his reputation on the line.
That's interesting that you say that.
I believe that might be it.
Okay, I like that. So the answer lies not just in his character, but like you said, also in the pressures and demand of time. As a captain employed by the powerful and far-reaching Dutch East India Company, Hendrik was bound by his duty to deliver precious cargo across dangerous seas. In an era when trade was both lucrative and perilous, captains were expected to push through even the harshest conditions to ensure their ships arrived on time. Failure to do so could result in severe consequences for the captain's career and merchants and investors who relied on the successful transport of goods. So that's interesting. His pride, basically.
Yeah, his pride.
Yeah.
Yeah, makes sense.
So Hendrik's sense of obligation to his crew and the company likely fueled his role to press on through the storm. Yet, there was more at play than just duty. Hendrik van der Decken was known to be a man, as you said, Angel, of immense pride.
There you go.
A captain who took great satisfaction in his abilities to navigate even the most dangerous of waters. The Cape of Good Hope, known for its currents and unpredictable weather, was a notorious passage that claimed many ships and lives. For Hendrik, conquering the route may have been as much about proving his own skill and tenacity as it was about fulfilling a job. To retreat or alter his course could have been seen as admission of defeat, something his pride could not bear. And so, in the height of the storm, when the sea roared and the winds howled, Hendrik made his fateful vow. His words, spoken in the moment of defiance, were not merely an act of courage or resolve. They were a challenge to the forces far beyond his control. In his desperation, he had unknowingly invited a supernatural fate. The devil, always known to exploit human weakness, seized the opportunity to punish Hendrik's hubris. Thus, Hendrik and his crew were condemned to sail the seas for eternity, becoming a symbol of doomed defiance. The legend of the Flying Dutchman would endear a haunting render of the dangers of pride and the consequences of challenging the unknown. Now, I'm going to get into the whole sightings of the Flying Dutchman.
Okay.
But before I do, something that has really resonated with me about this is the possibilities of what could have happened or what people may have been experiencing, like being on a ship for a long time, you know?
Yeah.
I mean, obviously ships, they don't travel as fast as cars do, not as fast as planes do.
No.
So you're on that ship for weeks and weeks on end. So it wouldn't come as a surprise that these crew members would start seeing things out on
Delirium,
sea.
yeah.
Exactly. And there's a name for that. Fata Morgana. It's a type of, it explains like a mirage.
Latu Verada to you too.
This is quite interesting. The sightings that I want to read about here, one of them actually is a really famous one. And Bats and Ghouls, you may or may not know this, but it has to do with a king of England. So the legend of the Flying Dutchman has long haunted the seas. Its spectral silhouette, a harbinger of doom for sailors across centuries. The Dutchman is said to bring misfortune to those who lay eyes upon her, a cursed omen from a time when superstition ruled the seas. Sailors across the globe from the South Atlantic to the Indian Ocean have reported eerie encounters for centuries. Phantom lights, ghostly voices in the wind, and a ship that vanishes as suddenly as it appears. Even in modern times with radar and satellites, some say she still haunts the deep, bound by a curse older than empires. Such tales continue to fuel maritime lore, reminding us of the mystery that still drifts upon the ocean's vast expanse. Now these are but a few sightings throughout time. 1881. Among the most chilling accounts is the sighting by Prince George of Wales, later to be known as King George V, during a naval training voyage aboard the HMS Bacchant. In the pre-dawn hours of July 11, 1881, as the ship navigated the waters near Australia, a strange red light pierced the darkness. Prince George recorded this in his journal.
A strange red light, as of bantam ship, all aglow, in the midst of which light the masts, spars, and sails of a brig 200 yards distant stood out in strong relief.
Now his brother, Prince Albert Victor, and their tutor, John Neil Dalton, also witnessed the eerie apparition. Shortly after this unsettling encounter, tragedy struck. The crewman who first spotted the ghostly vessel fell to his death from the top mast. This incident only deepened the ominous aura surrounding the Flying Dutchman, reinforcing its reputation as a ship of misfortune. 1822, Captain Owen comes across the ghostly vessel. On July 8, 1822, the HMS Levin, a seasoned Royal Navy survey ship, rounded the treacherous Cape Point, embarking on a mission to chart Africa's eastern coastline. Commanded by Captain William Fitzwilliam Owen, the Levin was no stranger to peril, having served the Napoleonic Wars and later capturing slave ships to liberate their human cargo. But as the Levin navigated the mist-laden waters near the Cape of Good Hope, an eerie sight arrested the crew's attention. A mysterious vessel appeared off the port bow, resembling their consort ship, the HMS Barracuda. Yet, the Barracuda was known to be hundreds of miles away. Through telescope, they observed the enigmatic ship lowering a boat, seemingly attempting to make contact. Suddenly, a dense fog enveloped both the ship and the boat, and when it lifted, they had vanished without a trace. The sailors whispered of the Flying Dutchman. As mentioned, such sightings were considered omens, and this encounter left an incredible mark on the Levin's crew, adding a spectral chapter to their storied voyage. Creepy.
Very creepy.
Imagine being out at sea and then you see something, glowing, and it's the Flying Dutchman. But here's the thing. You're out there and it's something that's talked amongst the crew consistently, even before you even leave. And you're thinking to yourself, like, yes, I've heard this story.
Right.
And then all of a sudden you see it.
With your own eyes.
With your own eyes. Is this the trick of the light? Is this because I'm fatigued? Is this because I'm tired? Or am I really seeing a ship?
Maybe mass hysteria?
Yeah, exactly.
But there are accounts throughout different cultures of glowing fog or mist in ocean waters.
Right, absolutely.
And always some kind of macabre event happening after that.
Exactly.
So there's a nut there. There's a seed of something.
Seed of truth somewhere. Yeah,
something.
absolutely.
What it is, we don't know.
Now, we are going to get into one more, but I want to talk about some plausible explanations.
Shoot.
Now, as we just talked about, mass hysteria, Fata Morgana, and what was the other word you said?
I said mass hysteria.
Oh, yeah, mass hysteria. No, there was another one. It was, I said Fata Morgana, and then you had said...
Oh,
sorry.
It was a joke. It was a Klaatu Verada.
Oh, that's right. That's right. So... but there's got to be some sort of plausible explanation as to why people were seeing this.
There's got to be something.
Right?
There.
I mean, in any type of paranormal investigation, right? People talk about hearing footsteps. They talk about seeing an apparition, seeing a shadow. And yet, sometimes there's a lot of explanation as to why that happened.
Right.
There's the house is creaking, and that just means the house is settling. Right. I see a possible, shadow in my room. That just could be the play of light of trick in your eyes, So these plausible explanations are quite interesting. And there's about 7 of these. There's 7 of these that I think could be the reason why this happened out at sea. Now, as you know, the Flying Dutchman has fascinated sailors and storytellers for centuries. Reports of sightings, especially from the 17th to the 20th centuries, have a mix of psychological, environmental, and cultural explanations. So here's a plausible list as to why people may have seen the Flying Dutchman throughout history. Now, as we mentioned, this is number 1, Fata Morgana. For those who don't know, Fata Morgana is an optical illusion caused by atmospheric conditions, particularly when layers of cold and warm air reflect light over the horizon. This can cause ships that are over the horizon to appear as if they're floating in the air or distorted into eerie, elongated ships. Sailors could mistake a real ship distorted by this phenomenon as a ghost ship, and I quote, ghost ship, common in open sea conditions, especially near the horizon.
Like, for instance, sometimes you see a floating island.
Right.
That's Fata Morgana.
Yeah, or like, how...
warp coastlines as well.
Yeah, like when you're driving on like a road, it's hot out, and all of a sudden it looks like there's a reflection. Yeah, that's the mirage that you're seeing.
Yeah.
So that could be a possible explanation.
Could be.
Fog, moonlight, or lighting effects. Ghostly ships can form from the reflection of moonlight, or ghost ships on fog or mist, creating an illusion of a glowing spectral ship. Combine that with low visibility and exhausted minds, and it becomes easy to misinterpret what's seen. Now, lightning flashes behind a ship during a storm can make it appear sudden and dramatic, adding to the ghostly legend. There's also the group psychology and suggestion. The power of expectation and folklore plays a major role. If sailors were already familiar with the Flying Dutchman legend, they might see it, and I quote, see it in ambiguous stimuli. Having the fact that you're talking about this, let's put ourselves in the 1800s or 1700s, and you and I were about to go on a ship and we're about to take off for, the Cape of Good Hope, or we're traveling around to map it. And before we leave, we're at a pub and people are telling us about, beware of the Flying Dutchman. It's out there. That's a story that we hear from like one person to another. And then all of a sudden we go on the ship and now
Everything's a Flying Dutchman.
Exactly. Everything's a Flying Dutchman. Or we're thinking to ourselves, oh, wait, what if that is real? Like, what if we're really seeing it? So that mass hysteria, that power of suggestion could really play a major role, especially when being told the story over and over and over.
I used to work at a place that they swore was haunted, but it was just because it was very old, but there was nothing there.
Right.
But because the stories kept, getting carried on, everyone said the place was haunted.
It wasn't haunted. And I know exactly how you feel about that, because a lot of you don't know, or a lot of you may know, I attended Whittier High School. And that is one of the biggest stories is the auditorium, and George, the janitor, had died in the auditorium. And that story just grew and grew and grew. And it got so big that everyone now thinks that there's a ghost in the auditorium.
Right.
That auditorium has been around for a long time. And I was on the newspaper there in high school, and we did a whole entire segment of, hauntings at Whittier High.
Yeah.
And we had a curator come in and talk to us about the difference back then versus now of the auditorium being, renovated and everything. And there is no actual evidence of a janitor dying in the auditorium.
None at all.
And there's no actual evidence of a tunnel that leads from like one portion of the high school all the way out to like the field or Cal High or something.
Yeah, there's not one. There is one that goes through Philadelphia.
Right.
But that's just, that's a modern one that the kids used to go through. But there is no other one. My son has debunked all this stuff.
Right, yeah.
So it's like, no.
Absolutely. But it's funny because these stories gain such traction throughout time that, again, people start to think like, well, because it's been around for a long time, maybe there's some truth behind it.
And so-and-so told me so it must be true.
Right,
and then,
exactly.
And they tell a friend, and they tell a friend, yeah.
Exactly. So shared hallucinations or mass suggestion could spread the belief among the crew that something supernatural had occurred.
Right.
Now, this one is really interesting. Loneliness, fatigue, and dehydration. Now, long voyages, as we talked about, being out in sea for a long time, long sea voyages often involve extreme fatigue, scurvy, and mental strain. These conditions can lead to hallucinations or dreamlike perceptions, especially at sea where the landscape is vast and unchanging, which is so true. You're out at sea and all you're seeing is ocean.
Well, you brought up the one of scurvy. That's what I was going to say earlier.
Okay.
But I waited because I knew that it was going to come up. So scurvy, it does affect a lot of your mindset.
Yes.
It's a lack of vitamin in your body, right?
Right.
So back then there was no really a cure. I mean, some citrus, some oranges, they figured it out, but still, you still got affected with scurvy.
Yeah.
Now, picture that. The sun hitting you, getting dehydrated, the salt around you. That all factors into, a change of mind or just a state of mind.
Right.
So it's a big possibility as well.
It's like when you're at home and you're by yourself and for hours and hours and hours, your brain starts to think about things from like the past, right?
Yes.
Things that you've heard before in the past, and you start to question it and wonder if it's true. Or like when you're trying to go to sleep at night and you're like, I got to go to sleep. My brain is just like, whatever happened to that one show? Wait, that one girl in high school, why didn't she like me? How come I didn't get that A? Like you just start,
you start getting a little circle.
Exactly.
And you're stuck.
And add that, like you said, plus the sun, plus being out in the ocean, and all you're seeing is just, ocean and sun. Those types of things play a very big factor when being out, out at sea. So, a crew member could see something strange and interpret it as the Dutchman. Others might adopt the same interpretation out of fear or superstition. Now, this is interesting too. Actual shipwrecks. Sometimes abandoned or wrecked ships float aimlessly at sea. Over time, they can become heavily weathered, stripped of crew, sails tattered. A crew spotting such a ship, especially if they can't hail it, might assume it to be supernatural.
Correct.
In fog or from a distance, these ships could resemble the mythic Flying Dutchman.
That is a big possibility as well.
Another one here is cultural amplification of the legend. Since the tale dates back to at least the 1600s, sailors began interpreting anything strange at sea through the lens of maritime folklore. Once a story gains popularity, like we had just mentioned, people start interpreting real events or illusions to fit the narrative. So someone sees a ship out there and the first thing they go is, that there be the Flying Dutchman. And written reports also, like plays and operas and books, helped reinforce the imagery in people's minds. Consistently writing something about a mysterious ship or any type of ghost story, that definitely starts to put an image in your head. You know, going on an investigation and someone telling you beforehand all this stuff really already starts to play a factor.
Very true.
And you start thinking to yourself, like, I go inside this theater or I go inside this house, but I already got told that, like, oh, there's this and there's that. There's a ghost, there's spirits, there's orbs. Then all of a sudden, when you walk in, that's what you're hoping to see. And you're creating that image for yourself. So these crew members going out at sea with the stories already in hand are expecting to see something or expecting something supernatural.
Very true.
And the last but not least, and I don't know if maybe you can explain this one. I still kind of had a hard time with this, but we'll see what happens. Bioluminescence or St. Elmo's fire. Have you ever heard of that?
Yes, I've heard of bioluminescence and St. Elmo's fire.
So bioluminescence, obviously, a lot of people who study the ocean understand what that is. Now, natural phenomenon like St. Elmo's fire, a glow caused by electrical discharge around a ship's mast, might be interpreted as a ghostly aurora. That's interesting. I never would have thought of that.
Yeah, it is possible.
That's interesting. And out of curiosity, could you explain a little bit further about the whole St. Elmo's fire thing?
St. Elmo's fire is, I know it's from discharge from electricity, but it's, you know how you rub, it's kind of like static electricity as well.
Yeah, okay.
It's a little bit like that, but at a different, you're in the water, so it's going to have a different effect. It's going to glow around, plus all the plankton and everything inside. It's going to have it glow around you. So that's kind of what, I mean, that's layman's terms.
Yeah,
fire. I'm not going to get like technical because I'm not, a marine biologist.
Right.
But that's what is the basis of how it runs.
That's interesting.
It's crazy because it has happened a lot of times, and a lot of people have seen it. And if you don't know or if you've ever heard of St. Elmo's, you're going to think, ooh, heebie-jeebie, ooh,
right, yeah.
booga booga. But it's not.
Interesting.
So it's great. Bioluminescence, we have that a lot here in California. The algae, the blue bioluminescence.
Oh, yes, that's right.
We get a lot of that off of the coast in different times, but it's a beautiful thing if you see it in person. I've never have, but you move your hand and it looks like something out of Avatar.
No, you're right. You're absolutely right. I just was thinking about something right now. Back in, I want to say, 8th grade, we got to do this Catalina trip. And on the Catalina trip, they take you out at night to go into the ocean. And the instructor had told us, like, when you go in the water, start moving your hands around. And all of a sudden, like, things are just glowing around you. Kind of like a Moana sense.
Yeah.
I mean, granted, my grandmother didn't show up as, a stingray. But at the same time.
As far as you know.
As far as I know, yeah. But at the same time, it is a really cool, ocean-like experience, right? To see something like that.
My only seed of doubt on this one is as an ocean person, an experienced oceanographer, or whatever. Yeah, someone who's a Navy man, a Marine. They experience this all the time, so they would know what it is, right? Yeah. So that's the only thing that's like, well, unless it's, like I said, hysteria and they're not thinking logically. Yeah. Then that might be a case.
I mean, for all we know, they knew about bioluminescence and they took it and they put it all over the ship to make it seem like, hey, we're a ghost ship now.
Ooh, and also, if you think about it, it kind of like, well, think of how the mindset of people back in the time, like mermaids.
Right, right.
Sorry to go off the subject, but mermaids themselves.
Oh, no, yeah.
They swore that these sirens of the deep came out and would, haunt men and get them to drown so they can flesh, eat their flesh and all that. So now we're thinking the theory is there were manatees. Mm-hmm. Have you seen a manatee? Does it look like a sexually temptress?
No, it doesn't. No.
Not at all. So, I mean, it's strange to think that that's how the lore becomes. Bioluminescence becomes the Flying Dutchman. I don't know.
I mean, with fatigue and very little food on there, very little water, it's understandable.
It's possible, but I mean,
As we wrap up our journey into the realm of ghost ships and the legend of the Flying Dutchman, there's one more tale that stands out. A story so particular, it challenges the boundaries between myth and reality. Now, this is something that I had mentioned earlier in the show, and I'm excited to talk about this because I did a lot of research on this, and it was tough to find it. Angel, picture this. 1939, on the serene shores of Glencairn Beach in South Africa, dozens of beachgoers reported witnessing a full-rigged sailing ship reminiscent of the 17th century East Indiaman approaching the shore under full sail. So what made this sighting particularly eerie was the calm weather. There was no wind to fill the sails, yet the ship moved towards the land. As the crowd watched in astonishment, the vessel vanished into the mist just before reaching the shore. Now, at first glance, this seems impossible, right? Mm-hmm. Could so many witnesses be mistaken? While phenomena like Fata Morgana mirages can explain some sightings, the clarity and consistency of this event leave room for wonder. Now, my investigation began with a deep dive into South African media archives. The Cape Times, the Star, the Sunday Independent, even the Rand Daily Mail. And despite thorough searching, I found no trace of the 1939 Glencairn Beach sighting of the Flying Dutchman. And honestly, it seemed that the story had vanished into the mist, much like the ship itself.
The article was the Flying Dutchman.
I'm sorry?
The article was the Flying Dutchman. It disappeared.
Right? Yeah, absolutely. But then, a breakthrough. In 1991, nestled within the pages of a small community newspaper in KwaZulu-Natal called the Natal Fever, I discovered an article titled Flying Dutchman Still Flying, penned by journalist Gary Brennan. This piece recounted the testimony of Bernie Wills, a retired building contractor and resident of False Bay. Now, I know that sounds fake, but if you look it up, False Bay is an actual place in South Africa. Wills swore he had seen the Flying Dutchman with his own eyes. He described how, upon spotting the ship, he rushed inside to grab his binoculars, but when he returned, the phantom vessel had vanished without a trace. Now, real quick before I continue on, I do have the article. I didn't bring it with me here, but I will be posting it on our Instagram, and I will be posting it on the website so that everybody, all the bats and ghouls, can see this was an actual article. And here's the funny thing, and I was just talking to you about this too. Actually, I was talking to Renee over here at Undercity Comics about how I found this. I had searched and searched and searched and was trying to find any proof, any type of article about this, right?
Right.
And I think I spent like 3 to 4 hours, and I finally just said, you know what? I need to stop. I'm going to go swimming. I'm going to go hit the hot tub. I need to, relax my brain. So the next day, I'm getting back into the research, and I thought, you know what? I'm going to try something. I'm going to ask ChatGPT. I'm going to ask. I'm just going to see, like, hey, so I typed it in about, the article and everything, and the first thing that pops up is a PDF of the actual article.
Right.
That blew my mind. All this searching on the internet, looking through the archives of the South African Daily and everything, and nothing.
Yeah, nowadays you don't go to Google no more. You go through a ChatGPT or Gemini.
Yeah.
It'll give you what you need.
That blew my mind. And I was so happy. I mean, I was like calling friends. I was just like, you're not going to believe this. I found it. I'm so excited.
You called me.
I called you. I was like, dude, I actually found it. This is amazing.
It's crazy.
So I will be posting it on our website, intothevoidpod.com, and you'll be able to read the full article right there.
Very nice.
So this account, published decades after the original event, suggests that the legend of the Flying Dutchman continues to sail through the collective memory of those who live along South Africa's coast. And it raises a compelling question. Could there be more to these sightings than mere folklore? Are they echoes of a shared experience, or perhaps manifestations of something beyond our understanding? Perhaps this incident serves as a reminder of the mysteries that still linger in our world, inviting us to keep questioning and exploring the unknown. Whether it's spectral sails of the Flying Dutchman vanishing into a storm or phantom vessel drifting silently through fog-choked waters, ghost ships continue to haunt our collective imagination. These stories, rooted in centuries-old maritime folklore and echoed in modern sightings, remind us how powerful the ocean's mysteries can be. Are they tricks of the light? Hallucinations born from isolation at sea? Or echoes of something far older and far more unexplainable? One thing's for certain, the legend of ghost ships endures, sailing endlessly through history, folklore, and our fascination with the unknown. Maybe the sea doesn't give up all its secrets, and maybe, just maybe, it prefers it that way. So what do you think, Bats and Ghouls? Could there really have been a ship so cursed it wasn't allowed to make port? After everything you heard on this episode and all the evidence that was stated, what are your thoughts about the Flying Dutchman? Also, are there any other haunted or cursed ships you've heard of? I'm curious. Do me a favor. Go on to our Instagram. I'm going to have this question up there. And I want to see if you guys know any other, you Bats and Ghouls, if there's any other ghost ships that you want me to talk about, because this is not going to be the only ghost ship we're going to talk about.
Oh, no.
I will be coming back to more of these because there are so many. Even there are some that are more recent.
Yes.
You know, and I did come across a YouTube video of a ship where this guy had found a ship that was just kind of, or a yacht that was floating out in the sea by itself. He had even gone on there. He saw that a lot of the luggage was left on there. But as he was walking in, he could also hear like water building up somewhere in the ship. So I did find out later on that like apparently they were having motor problems, engine problems, and they had to abandon the ship and they had to leave it there. But it did get towed in, and then eventually they found the owner, the captain, and they were able to fix it up. So sometimes these stories don't really like, at first they don't seem to add up. Then you find out a lot of the time it's like, well, there's just ship problems.
Yeah.
You know, and when they're that far out and they can't do anything, they have to then leave the ship behind.
Yeah, they have no choice about the ship.
It's like when your car breaks down,
right,
and you're out in the middle of nowhere. It's like you're going to have to leave the car there and go find somewhere to come pick up the car. So,
ooh,
you know.
Ghost cars.
Ghost cars,
Episode 2. No, I'm kidding.
But yeah, so Angel, I know we're getting to the end of the show here, but I'm curious your thoughts about ghost ships, your thoughts about whether or not, you know, these giant sail ships are actually ghost ships, or do you think that it is all superstition of the mind?
I believe that it's a toss-up of both.
Okay.
Sometimes some of the stories just seem too detailed to be fake or just, you know, a myth. Some other times, though, they're just, like I said, mass hysteria. I believe a lot of people want to believe, so they'll say, yes, I saw it too with my own 2 eyes.
Absolutely.
It was purple, but, you know, there was nothing there. But they just want to go along. They want to feel included. They don't want to be excluded.
Okay.
So there's a lot of that. But there's a lot of, the Flying Dutchman has been around, and it's not just, you know, locals. It's actual other foreign eyewitnesses from different countries.
Yeah.
And they all say the same thing. So there is a grain of truth behind that. I don't know what it is. It's out there in the void.
It is. It absolutely is. I mean, that whole incident at the Glencairn Beach, multiple people witnessing a giant ship with sails coming towards the sand and then disappearing. How do you explain multiple people seeing it versus when you're on a ship out at sea and you're all having like the type of mass hysteria, and yet you have people on the beach who are not having mass hysteria, you know, and obviously it's not like they're all hanging out, having a party, drinking, doing whatever. They are all witnessing something, and it's one of those, like, again, the mystery of how the paranormal can really affect the mind.
My only doubt is how now, with all technologies that we have, we don't have any photographic evidence whatsoever of the Flying Dutchman.
That's true. We have to take it by word of mouth.
I do remember seeing back in the 90s an old picture. I may be wrong, and it might be another case, but I seen a picture of some they said it was evidence of the Flying Dutchman taken back in the 1900s.
Oh,
do you remember that?
I think I came across something like that.
Yeah. But I think I debunked it because I think it wasn't really, like, you couldn't find out where the source was. They were just saying that was one of the only proofs of the Flying Dutchman. It's like a very grainy black and white picture. There's like mist in front. And
Yeah, that
like
sounds
it's very wide.
I am pretty sure I came across that actually.
Right.
And that was one of those, like, because it was hard to really determine what it was and there wasn't enough information on it.
Exactly.
That's what made me go, I don't know if I can cover this because I need more proof. Finding that article was one thing, even though that is more of a word of mouth.
Yeah.
Because again, there was really no other evidence that states that, oh, so-and-so saw it and so-and-so saw it and so-and-so saw it. It's just one person, that Willis guy.
Yeah.
So that's really hard to determine whether or not that was a real thing. But again, finding that article did kind of give me a little bit of truth behind the story.
Right.
But the 91 of what happened in 1991, that is also hard to determine too. Like you said, technology today, there is actually a article or story that happened with a German World War II submarine where they had actually, I'm sorry. Yeah, it was a German World War II submarine. And supposedly that submarine ran into the Flying Dutchman as well.
Right.
And there was another story about another ship, a more modern ship that was firing upon another a ship they saw, and it was never hitting the ship.
Yes.
And yet they're saying that supposedly that was the Flying Dutchman as well. So
But how do they know?
Exactly.
It's
Once
just,
again, it's word of mouth.
I think what it is there's these weird events with phantom ships, and they just mass label them as the Flying Dutchman because it's the most famous phantom ship.
It's like it's the easiest thing to go to.
Yeah, I mean, like the Mary Celeste is a different subject because it's a different kind of ship.
Right.
So I think it's been romanticized, and now it's where it's the easiest one to name.
Yeah.
The Flying Dutchman.
Yeah.
That's kind of like the Titanic.
Yeah.
The Queen
Exactly.
Mary.
Exactly. Yeah. There's a lot of speculation out there, and I hope that one day, we will have the proper technology so that when when the accusation of seeing the Flying Dutchman really comes up again, especially, we're in the 2000s, man, we're 2025, you know, we're getting on the 2026 and we're moving on.
Yeah.
Let's get some more technology in there to where if someone says, I saw the Flying Dutchman, all right, let's run a radar, let's run this, let's run, an EMF, let's run everything that we can to prove whether or not you really did see the Flying Dutchman, or once again, is this Fata Morgana?
I challenge your listeners to something. Go to ChatGPT and ask it, what's the probabilities of the Flying Dutchman being real?
Ooh, okay.
Bring it back around. It's a circle.
I love that, to challenge the probability. It reminds me of Captain America: Brave New World, the leader, and how his mind was like the probability of this and the calculations of that.
Exactly.
Yeah. That's a good challenge. You know what? Bats and Ghouls, please do that. Please do that. That would be awesome, just to see and get your comments on what you found with ChatGPT. That might be another episode for another time where we talk about how technology and the paranormal go hand in hand.
That's not
and
a bad idea.
using ChatGPT or Gemini to be able to find what you're looking for, and like you said, the probability of something paranormal.
Yep.
That would be interesting. Well, Angel, I'm going to say, I know we're ending the show right now, so thank you so much for joining me on this episode.
Always a pleasure.
It is so great to have you. And I got to say, man, I got to bring up the shirt. I got to bring the shirt up.
Yeah.
It is an epic shirt.
Thank you.
Bats and Ghouls, I'm sitting here right now and I'm looking at this awesome orange and black checkered Dragon Ball Z shirt. I'm not trying to sponsor it. I'm just saying it looks awesome, dude.
Thank you.
Love it.
Yeah, I had to grab it the minute I saw it. I'm like, yoink, mine.
That's wonderful. So before we do end, though, why don't you let our Bats and Ghouls know what's coming up with the O.U.C.H Cast and where can they hear the show and all that fun stuff.
So for the O.U.C.H Cast upcoming, more of the videos coming out. We are going to be kind of piggybacking a little bit now that the summer season is coming. We like doing what's called things that go ouch in the night. That's something that we do annually, but for like a month or so. So June, July, we'll be doing some of your territory, some paranormal. But of course, we take it with more of a adult humor approach. Yeah. So it's not... I got to tell your listeners, it might not be your cup of tea, but we have a lot of fun doing it. Now with the visual, it'll be a lot more fun. It's a little more direct than before, but good times. Anywhere you could go to our website, you could go to ouchcast.com, and there we'll have links to all our socials. As I just announced, we're no longer doing TikTok because it's just not worth it. They're trying to push their little TikTok shop on everybody.
Oh yeah,
they are banning people without warning just because they, I don't know, they're trying to clean house. It's a mess. So
it's no longer the algorithm. Now it's just the employers.
Yeah. So
Gotcha.
at the moment, we're putting a pin on that.
Okay.
And moving on. But everything else we have, even X, we still have that. But
Okay.
everything else, again, ouchcast.com, it will take you to all the other spots.
Awesome.
So-
Very cool, dude. I'm excited.
Also, there's a link to you guys. If
There
you go to
is.
Friends of the Ouchcast, you're on there.
Oh, I love that. Thank you so much.
Because you're our buddy.
I love it. Hey, buddy.
Hey, buddy.
Who's that guy on TikTok? Hello there, buddy.
Hello there, buddy.
I love that guy.
Yeah.
All right. Well, that about does it for this episode. However, before we do end, I did mention that I do have an announcement for this new season. Bats and Ghouls, I am super excited to let you know that not only will we be having a Halloween special, but we will also be having a Halloween Into the Void enter to win a paranormal prize in the month of October. Now, in order to do so, you can go to intothevoidpod.com, and there you'll be able to read all the rules and regulations of what we're going to do. And basically, what I'm trying to do is I want to give you, Bats and Ghouls, a prize. Not only for not just a prize, but also you go to our GoFundMe page, okay? And this is how it works: you go to our GoFundMe page and you make a donation. That is your entry for a grand prize in the month of October.
Is it my shirt?
It will. Well, you never know. I mean, if you want to give up the shirt off your back, you're more than welcome to.
No.
It would be an awkward show afterwards.
Yeah, very.
You might be a little cold too.
A little nippy, yes.
But Bats and Ghouls, we will not be giving Angel's shirt away, but we will be giving you a big prize. So please do me a favor. Go to intothevoidpod.com. Check out our GoFundMe page. Make a donation, and your donation will also be an entry fee. Now, you don't have to give a donation. If you want, you can actually go ahead and email the show with your name, with the subject line Void Giveaway Entry, and go to our email at beyondthevoid87@gmail.com. That is beyondthevoid87@gmail.com, and be entered by October 30th of this year. So, Bats and Ghouls, get excited, because not only are we giving away a prize, but we also are going to be having a very spooky Halloween episode, and I'm super excited for it.
Nice.
All right, Bats and Ghouls. Well, that is going to do it for this episode of the brand new season. If you like what you heard here, be sure to follow the show on our social media, _the_void_podcast. That's _the_void_podcast. Be sure to join our Facebook page, Into the Void, where I do my best to post as much as possible. I do make some TikToks. I know, Angel, you said you're not using TikTok. I am still using TikTok. I love making videos of little things. Yeah, it's exciting. My kids help me out, which is great. You know, gives them a little something to do. So go ahead and check out our TikTok page. And lastly, my apologies to Kimberly J. Brown. We just simply didn't have enough time to get you on the show. Hopefully next time. So until then, I'm G-Man, and I want to thank you for falling with me into the void.